Hello everybody, Flik here, and welcome to the answers portion of the question and answers special I'm doing for hitting 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. I'm sorry for the delay. I wanted to wait to try and get my silver play button so I could show it off at the start of this before answering the questions. Sadly, it takes a while to process. I've been talking to a partner support person at YouTube. It takes a while, so I'm not going to wait because it could be well into next month by the time I get it. I will do a video on it when I get it, but the main point here is once again to thank you for the amazing support I've seen not just on YouTube but Twitch as well. And to celebrate, I posted a short video saying, hey, ask me stuff, and I'll answer it as best I can. There is 400 replies, and that's not counting replies to replies. So it's very unlikely I'm going to get through everything, even counting the fact that some of them will be duplicates. I'll try and get through as many as I can. I think what I'm probably going to do is record this video in 2 chunks. I will do half an hour now maybe, and then take a quick break to give my voice a rest, and then record another half. That way I shouldn't rush through any questions, in theory. That was a loud car going past the window. Pardon me. Was this a mistake, filming this first thing in the morning when I'm still half asleep and only just got back in with walking the dog? Very possibly. But still, let's get on with it. This is going to be mostly, sight unseen. I took a brief, very quick look through to get rid of the obvious trolls, or insults about my appearance, or, that kind of thing. A lot of people seem obsessed with my hair, for some reason. I have a very weirdly shaped head. It's Vulcan hairdo or nothing. You care about it a lot more than I do, apparently. But that's not the place for this. I'm going to answer the good questions. I say, the first legitimate question is from Toxic Odys, who says, will you ever play with Loco? I don't know, I don't think that's a game, so that leads me to believe he's probably an Overwatch content creator. Probably not. I have a group of friends that I play with. Failing that, I would just play by myself. That kind of networking is fine, but I don't really... Overwatch is a game I enjoy playing with friends rather than, hey, let's play it for the sake of networking. I wouldn't mind playing Monster Hunter with Monster Hunter content creators, but as far as Overwatch goes, no. Garrett Neiman, are you playing 40k? I love it. I've got 5,000 points of Necrons. I did, which is why... There you go. There's 3 models, and then all that. Hang on, all that, and then over there's another one. They're all filled with models. I don't really play these days because there's no one in the area. I'm too rural to have people to play with, and the hobby is way too expensive. It's more expensive than gaming as a hobby, and that's a very big indicator of Games Workshop not knowing their arse from their elbow. They charge too much. They are too obsessed with IP protection rather than IP value, as in creating value so people buy their brand rather than suing anybody who dares bring out a comparable product. So I gave it up. I was still into the painting, although it's been a while since I painted any models. If you look way back on my Twitter, I occasionally post pictures of stuff I've painted. My main army was Ultramarines. I also had Farsight Enclave Tau, Nurgle themed Chaos / a little bit of Demons. And just before I stopped, I also started getting into Tyranids because I wanted a melee focused army. Although I never really got the chance to use them very much. But yeah, that's the ones I have. I had quite a lot of them. Well, I still do. I would say about 60% of them are painted. I was okay with keeping up with the painting. The bigger models, the vehicles up there, I hated doing those. I like doing the smaller models better, because the big ones never turned out well in the way I painted. I could get a good tabletop standard. If you don't know what that means, that's a standard where at the distance you would be standing if you were playing a game of 40k, the model looks good, but if you got up close, chances are you would see imperfections. Anyway, Morgan Johnson, congrats on 1k, mate. It's 100k, but thank you very much. My question, what anime do you watch? How did you start out YouTube? Anime, don't watch any anime right now. The last anime I watched was the Naruto anime up until the first year of filler started, and I gave up on it. After that, didn't really watch any. If you want good recommendations for short run series, Scried, Death Note, Neon Genesis Evangelion, that's about the only 3 I can think of. If you want something long form that's iconic, Dragon Ball, that kind of thing. But no, I don't really watch anime. I did read manga, but I keep on meaning to make time for Fairy Tail, the Six Sins one or whatever it's called, the Hero one, One Punch Man. I'll get around to them eventually, but not yet. As for how did I start out on YouTube, I started out on a collaboration channel with some friends making Final Fantasy XI Machinima. It was called Gunship Productions, and as far as I'm aware, in fact, I'm going to check. Sorry for getting exceptionally pale, but I went away from a black background. YouTube.com/Guntia Productions. Have you been copyright struck into oblivion? Nope, it's still there with 368 subscribers. And I would imagine some of the videos would be muted because we used a lot of copyrighted stuff. Apparently it's still there though. So yeah, Guncha as in Gunsha, and then Productions, one word. It's still there. But some of the videos might be muted. But yeah, that's what I got started doing. Final Fantasy XI Machinima, and then I moved on to make my own channel, which is why my channel is called Flik FFXI, which is Flik Final Fantasy XI, because I thought I'd only do Final Fantasy XI stuff. But I quickly branched out because I found a love for video making. That is not a question, that's just someone saying I'm second. Ty Darren says, congrats on your 100k, love the Overwatch. That's also not a question, but thank you. Let's see. Alright, here's just a random question. Courtney Carter says, any special grilled cheese? I'm working on Hawaiian and with Hawaiian sweetbread, some ham and pineapple circle things. Oh, with cheddar, and you gotta say cheddar like Mafia Frog if you answer this question. I may have missed the question in that nonsense sentence. If you're asking what cheeses are good on a grilled sandwich, Gouda, Edam, I guess. Oh, actually, there is an American one I like. I got into recently called Monterey Jack because I went to one of their restaurants through in Sterling, and I found that they actually import it in supermarkets, and it's good. I like it. An unnatural ghost says, am I in the Q&A? Someone replied to them saying no. Yes, you are. Ty Dearn again says, do you ever plan on letting your viewers just join in and play with you? Sometimes, but the bigger the audience you open yourself up to, the more chance there is where someone will just want to be a dick or troll you, and as a result spoil the fun for everybody. Case in point being Overwatch. I let people join my friends list, they would always join on me and always single me out, and that got very tiring, so they ruined it for everybody, sadly. And that kind of thing happens. I'm worried if I invite normal, just anybody into, like, say, Quiplash, they'll put horrible, like, racial slurs or something that will make, it could get me in trouble. That's the thing with Twitch. And since I just got partnership, I'd rather not try and piss them off. So, generally speaking, no. What I did do last time we played Quiplash, actually, was I didn't open up player slots to the public, but what I did was open up player slots to people who were in the Discord, because generally speaking, I don't advertise the Discord server that I have that much because I want to keep it small. I like having just a few small, like, there's like over 100 people registered, but at any one time there's like 15-20 people chatting at most. And I like that kind of small community, so I opened up player slots to them. Every so often I let patron people join games as well, but it depends on the game. In general, no. Sometimes I make exceptions, but sadly, it's the minority that ruins it for the majority in terms of like trolls and whatnot. It's a shame, but that's the way it is. Abihanzi Akim, I think, says, have you heard about Indonesia? If you mean do I know that it exists, then yes. Oh, he actually replied to someone who replied to him saying, sorry, my English is bad, sorry. Yes, I know of Indonesia. I've never been. I don't know anything about it specifically, but I know it exists. Letty Lai. How did you gather your gaming stuff? Favourite champs to play in Overwatch? Congratulations on 100k. Your Overwatch videos are a bomb. How did you gather your gaming stuff? Does that mean how did I... Pardon me. If you mean why am I at least average at any game I play, it's because I've played games since I was like 5. On my Atari or whatever. Atari, there was numbers after it, but I can't remember now. Playing like Double Dragon and Centipede on that. If you play enough games of certain generic genres, you'll be good enough at any you play to at least come across as passable. My favourite champions to play in Overwatch: Genji, Reinhardt, Hanzo, Zarya. That would be the top. And Zinja. I would say those are my top. That was 5, right? 5 out of 21. Anna would be a close kind of fitting into that list as well. Jimmy68062 says, question mark, what's 9 plus 10? Question mark. Someone replied to him saying, 19, get the fuck out, dumbass. Okay. Please be polite to each other. The answer is 19. I'm not sure why you asked me that. Maybe just to get on from asking a silly thing. Who knows? Pro Gamer says, hey man, congrats on 100k. My question is, if you were locked in a room with Hitler, Diva and May and had 2 bullets in a gun, who would you kill? Myself twice. Squeenix says, how long have you been making videos and streaming for? I've been streaming since March 1st this year, because up until then I had broadband, but my broadband was not good enough to stream. I had 0.43 meg up or something like that, and you need like at least 1 meg up. So yeah, since March 1st, that's when my upgrade went live. I've been on my own channel on YouTube since 2008, and I was on the Gunshot Production one since 2006, I think, so 1 year after YouTube actually started, before it was owned by Google. I think that's right, maybe I was only with them for 1 year. Either way, a long time. Next question. Vivid Vibe, congrats on 100k. My question, other than playing games, what other things do you do, like watching cartoon, anime, or any sports? I go for walks with my dog. I like going out on my bike, which may be hard to believe based on my appearance, but I do actually love going bike rides. I play musical instruments. I can play bass guitar, and as a result also play a little bit of acoustic and electric guitar. Painted 40k models back in the day, but again not really done that much recently because I've been way too busy. I think that's about it, really. Yeah, I don't really watch any TV shows. Anytime there's a series of the British Apprentice, I watch that. That's pretty much it as far as TV. And every so often I watch movies that I mean to catch up on, like say the Marvel ones, or I recently got around to watching the first Thor movie because I never did. I get around to stuff I'm meaning to watch eventually. It just takes me a little while. Like I've still got a season of The Walking Dead sitting down there that I haven't got around to watching yet. And I only watch the DVDs because I don't watch it on TV. Harry Stevenson says, can you do a setup room tour? There's not really much to see, but what I'm facing here is I've got my monitor, webcam right there, got my mic here, speakers, other monitor which has the preview window and also Discord and Steam. If you want a picture of like what I'm staring at, oh, and also my TV is up there which I use for console stuff. If you want a picture of what I'm staring at, I actually posted one on Twitter. It was a while ago now when I first got my twin monitor setup, but it's on there. You'll see what I'm facing. That's essentially all you need to see. This is my work area. PC tower is under the desk, which you'll also see a picture of on Twitter. There's no like complicated stuff here. There's no foam, sound foam to absorb or bounce sound. Nothing like that. The only new addition really is to my left up above here and also up above there are the base stations for my Vive. One's on a tripod, one's on the DVD shelf you can kind of see there. That's the only new addition. Other than that, it's just a desk with a PC on it. That's all you need. And my consoles are over on the far side of the TV. That's about it as far as workstation goes. And you're seeing pretty much everything else that's in the room. The door is right there and that's it. So, you're not missing much. Then Rico said, did you know Diva is Korean? Lol, congrats on 100k. Yes, I did know she was Korean. Thank you for asking. Jerry Deska says, what is your favourite Suikoden game? Also, congrats on 100k subs. So thank you very much. My favourite Suikoden game is Suikoden 2 because it is one of the best RPGs ever made. The first one was okay, and it set the scene for the second one, but the second one is fantastic. Great battle system, great sprite style, fantastic story about loss and war and friendships being torn apart, and it has the person whose name I took in kind of like a heroic role. If you aren't aware, that's where I got my name from. Although as far as I'm aware, Flik was only in Suikoden 1 and 2. He might have had cameos in later ones. I didn't play it after it stopped being sprite art. Also, I just hit my desk by accident. Let's see. Jimmy Kojonen, something like that. Congrats again on 100k. My question is, what is your favourite game ever made? Also, cake or cookies? Do you mean cookies in the American sense, so you actually mean biscuits? Probably cookies, if you mean cookies as in like chocolate chip. What is my favourite game ever made? My favourite game ever made was a game called Xenogears, which I believe you can now finally get on PSN. It's a stupidly long Squaresoft RPG with mechs and like a combo-based combat system, turn-based system rather. It took a lot of lifts from famous philosophers for its storyline. It also heavily kind of parodies certain events from the Bible, like Adam and Eve and the Tower of Babel and that kind of thing. But it does it really, really well. It's not really one that you would play again because it just has so much text, but first time playthrough was fantastic. Sadly, it was never fully finished, so the final disc is like shortened. There's no travelling at all, almost, and like Neon Genesis Evangelion style. they have the characters address the player sitting in a darkened room on a chair saying, hey, we did this, then we went here and fought this, and then you actually do the fight. It's a little disappointing they didn't have the faith to finish it, or the time, I guess, but it is still probably my favourite RPG ever made. I haven't played it for a while, mind you. Oh, and at the time, I don't know if they ever fixed this, it has anime cutscenes, and the dubbing was absolutely horrendous. It was hilariously bad. It's worth seeing if it's on YouTube, actually, some of the really bad dubs. It's like characters would stop talking and then the dialogue would happen. It was bad, but funny. Dragonakis commented next saying, can you grow a beard for celebration? No. No, I cannot. I don't like facial hair at all, really. The only reason I occasionally have build-up of stubble is because I'm lazy. Why do so many people reply to Dragonakis saying, yes, you should. A nice long one like Torbjorn. I approve of this 100%. No. No, not at all. Kilua Gone says, top 5 favourite games. That would be tough. Let's just list stuff of recent years that I remember playing that I really, really like. So let's say Dragon's Dogma. Let's say Dark Souls 2, Bloodborne, Xenogears, Suikoden 2. I really liked the first Dragon Age. I'm not sure. See, I've played so many games, it's really hard to have a list that isn't forever changing. Like the first Resident Evil was iconic for me just because of the time period it was released and how fresh it was when I played it. The first Legacy of Kain as well, I remember playing that. I think that was the first thing I ever played on the PS1. So there's too many. Who are your favourite and least favourite Overwatch characters? My favourite is Genji. My least favourite is... Is it Bastion? Yeah, Bastion isn't really a problem to deal with, it's just he forces other people on the team to play in a certain way, i.e. if you have a Reinhardt, and he's boring. He's just so boring. Anytime I do force myself to play as him, I try not to just sit in one corner, I try to move around and use recon mode a little bit, but he is the worst. Actually, well no, he's not literally the worst, he's just boring. I would say the worst right now, and probably forever, will be McCree, because they will never get him just right. And I do like playing as him, but he's never going to find the right balance at all because of the way he works. They won't be able to do it in a way where he's either underpowered or overpowered. So he's not my least favourite, but he's the most problematic. Least favourite is Bastion. Patrick Azarella, how do you feel about streaming on YouTube? Also, when do you think you'll reach your next milestone? I don't know what my next milestone is. I guess 250,000, because that's a 250,000 and that's a substantial number of subscribers. I will probably hit that in a year, I would say. Because, things have slowed down now. The tentpole event of Overwatch's release has gone whoop, and now it's kind of going down like that. But the balance is still a lot higher than it was before. So I'm looking forward to, I know this will sound weird, but I'm looking forward to things quieting down because I'll know where my new medium is. And that'll mean I can better plan out going ahead, say what my financial situation will be, what my content situation will be. That's not to say something else won't come along that will cause another tentpole event. Like right now, as I record this, the obvious tentpole event is the PS4 version of No Man's Sky, because it came out before the PC version. So if you can play the PS4 version, you're going to get a lot of attention, you're going to get a bump in traffic, because it has a lot of hype around it. And what else did you ask? How do I feel about streaming on YouTube? I tried it once, didn't really like it, and despite having so many subscribers, barely anyone watched. Also, now that I'm a partner on Twitch, I cannot stream on a rival service, so I will just be using Twitch for that. And I really, really like Twitch. I like that they've got their stuff together. There's nothing wrong with YouTube gaming per se, but they need to work on a few aspects of the back end. The actual streaming itself is fine. Also, hay fever is a bitch. My eye is itching the hell out of me. Yuck. And Ningyu NK, this is the first time I see your face. It's always so weird to get used to someone's voice and then see their face. I imagined you a bit older. I am old. I think you're mistaking or not looking closely enough. Ryan Brown says, I'm a 13-year-old male. Could you please tell me how to handle and or get growth? I assume you're talking about YouTube and not puberty, because you should ask your parents about puberty. How do you handle and or get growth? Handling growth is something I'm getting used to as well. I've had a couple of big bumps on my channel in the past. When I did some Monster Hunter stuff with Dodger, when I did some anime games before anybody else, thanks to some connections I had for a website I wrote for. But both of those events paled in comparison to just the staggering like mountain top peak I got from just happening to decide to make some fairly low effort funny Overwatch videos where my friends and I tried playing as the same character and had some fun doing it. It's tough to handle because all of a sudden everything you say is dissected by much more people. Prior to the Overwatch stuff, I had maybe like 350 viewers who would watch everything, not just a series that they were interested in the game. Now it's thousands, so every little thing you say is just picked apart. So if you ever say anything slightly wrong, like a very common comment, not just on my channel but any channel that's got quite a lot of subscribers, is actually, comma, thing. That happens a lot. It happens on Twitch as well, actually. It's quite funny to notice it. It happens more and more as you get bigger and bigger. It's not that people want to like knock you down, it's that they think you have more authority than you do just because your audience is bigger. So if you say something wrong, they will try desperately to make sure that you know you're wrong. So I would say definitely having a thick skin will help you get used to growth. If this is all assuming he was not just trying to be a troll and asking about puberty, but assuming you are somehow getting growth and you are a young person, if you feel like you can't handle criticism, if you can't handle people telling you horrible things about you at a regular basis, then I would say step away. That might be hard to do, but if you are thin-skinned, if you are fragile, if you will only focus on the bad comments you get, even if they pale in comparison to the amount of good comments you get, you're not going to be able to cut it. Sadly, you've got to be able to. I'm not saying you sit there and take it, by the way. Get rid of people who are horrible to you, but don't dwell on it because they will always be the minority for the most part. But yeah, if you are actually YouTubing and you get growth, try not to focus on it. Watch what you say, be polite, try and appease the majority, even if. I mean, that's the other thing. I've talked about this in a couple of Gungeon episodes actually. When you get an audience of a certain size, you will never, ever be able to appease everybody. You will always piss off at least one person. So you just have to accept that you do the thing that will make the most people happy. Or I guess sometimes you could be selfish and do what makes you happy rather than your audience, but that would be a bad idea. Anyway, I think I've spent too much time on a question that I now am almost 100% certain was actually a troll, but let's move on. Vast Juggernaut says, "Hey Flik, what kind of computer do you have run?" I have a PC that I call Odessa, which is a Suikoden reference because that was Flik's lover's name in the first game. The stats for which are written over on my Twitch. I don't have them like in my memory, I think. Hang on, maybe I could. 2TB hard drive and then a SD for the front end. I can't remember the motherboard. The card is an R9 290, 16 gig of the top quality RAM. Processor was an i7 overclocked to 4.4, I think. I think so. Anyway, yeah, in full they're written over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/fliksgamingstuff, so you can get them over there. They're correct. I did have a typo in them that someone pointed out during a stream. It is now fixed. I do not have like 4,000 gigabytes of power in my card or whatever it is I accidentally wrote before instead of megabyte. Foxy the Pirate Fox says, "Who's your favourite Overwatch hero from each class?" Genji for offense, Mei for defense. Wait, she is in defense, right? Oh, wait, but so's Hanzo though. Hello, Maya. Mei or Hanzo, I guess. Tank, Reinhardt for sure. Support. It's a tough one between Zenyatta or Ana. I think I prefer Zenyatta. Maybe. It's really close though. Also, it could be the post coming, and I might have to answer the door because I'm expecting a parcel. But as I said, I was already going to do a split, and we're nearing half an hour here, so actually that might be a good pause. When the post arrives, I'll do a quick break. Next. Joker on lunch break. That's a good name. What made you want to play Overwatch? The fact that it was similar to TF2. I almost didn't play it because I didn't like how they handled pussies being pissed off by Tracer daring to show her arse in a victory pose. But I kind of got respect back for them when their response was to piss off everybody. It was like, we'll do what we want, screw you. And I appreciated that. So that got me back onto it. I got access to the beta. There was no buy-in. So I was like, okay, well, I might as well try it for free. And found that I really, really liked it. And then that obviously led to us doing the beta videos where we were pissing around. Those became popular, which I was surprised at because I did TF2 content back in the day and that was never really that popular. but the Overwatch stuff was just super popular, so that made me play it more. I got more into it. I love the world they've created, the storyline, the characters are very diverse, and it just plays well, and that's what I like about it. Someone replied saying hype Common Sense or Blizzard. None of those. I was not hyped about the game at all. In fact, if you go back to, someone pointed this out because they went back and watched some old playthroughs. I think in the Dead Rising 3 playthrough I did with CR, it was a co-op one, he mentioned Overwatch to me and I was like, I'm not really following it. That was my reaction to it. I try to avoid getting hyped about stuff because I want to try them for myself rather than buy into the hype train. So yeah, you know, that's what I tried to do. Also, I like that the person who tried to answer on my behalf, Joker on Lunchbreak, replied saying, "Hey, I wasn't asking you, go away." That was the right response. Matthew Foster says, "Is there a game you enjoy playing that you choose not to stream over fears it might not be entertaining for your viewers?" Tons of stuff, yeah. Plenty of the indie games I try for the YouTube side I would never bother streaming. Games involving a lot of listening to characters talking I think are bad streaming games. Games like Mass Effect, Dark Age, what am I talking about? Dragon Age. You know, stuff where if you're playing it through for the first time as well, you're going to be sitting and paying attention to the game talking, so you're not going to be talking over it. Or if you are talking over it, you're going to piss off people because they want to hear the story too. I think those make bad streaming games. Good streaming games are fast-paced stuff where there's not much talking in the game, or, you know, creative ones like Minecraft probably, Terraria, Starbound, maybe even No Man's Sky, who knows, where the story isn't the focus, but you have gameplay that is a stage for you to kind of play out your commentary. Do you think Overwatch will survive till 2017? Asks Agustia Warrior. Absolutely, yes. I think it will last a lot longer than that. Someone actually asked me this during the stream last night. I think it's going to go forever, pretty much, and like TF2 is. It might fall apart because they'll keep on adding stuff that will add imbalance. I think the competitive scene will fall apart for sure because they'll never get the balance right, but I think people will play it for a long time. Blizzard have come up with the TF2 killer, essentially. It helps that TF2 has degraded into nothing but loot boxes, and hopefully they won't follow suit. But the fact that all their cosmetic stuff doesn't do anything to your stats, that's the important part. If they start bringing out new weapons you earn from crates that do different stuff, that will be the moment they've jumped the shark. I hope they never get there, but at that point I would say it would start going downhill. They will not do that in 2017. If anything, they'd wait till like year 3 or 4 to try and breathe new life in. James McCarthy asks a question I believe a bunch of people asked in this list. How did you meet all the people you play with on a regular basis? Also, what is, in your opinion, the most underpowered ability or ultimate in Overwatch? The most underpowered ability? Symmetra Shield. It needs to be reworked so it does something different, in my opinion. The most underpowered ultimate. The most underpowered ultimate. I would say the most underpowered ultimate is... You know, I don't know. I cannot think of an ultimate that I think, hey, that needs work. In a way that implies it's too weak or not good enough. They fixed Diva's one, that would have been what I said prior to her buff. No, I can't really think of any. Nope, I can't think of any for that. But anyway, to focus on the main question, which is something that a lot of people ask, how did I meet the people I play with? People like Reaper and Owl and whatnot, they found my channel through series I was doing, mostly Monster Hunter. I think Valinor and Owl were different ones. I think Owl was Rogue Legacy, Valinor was... no, I can't remember now. But either way, they found me through that and then joined in my viewer hunts that I did on Monster Hunter, and we just started chatting from that. CR I've known for years. Stormkiller I think was Monster Hunter as well, and that's about my user crowd. Soulfood was Monster Hunter, I think. So yeah, we just kind of chatted through that, and they became regulars in my 3 Ultimate series, and we started chatting outside of that, and that's how it happened. By the way, if any of you are interested in any of their channels that have active YouTube channels, if you go to my main channel page, over on the right, there's a box that says collaborators, and they're listed in there, so you can go find them if you want. They do content without me, so if you want to go see some other stuff that they do, you can do. Z-Victor asks, did you like school and what do you think should be changed about it? Well, keep in mind that the school system in Scotland is different to England, and in turn is different to Europe, which in turn is different to the US, so really there's no point me saying what I think I would change. Did I enjoy school? Yes, pretty much. I was a teacher's pet up until secondary school. I think I started to mature a little bit too fast in secondary school because I started noticing, it was almost like you should never meet your heroes. I started noticing that teachers are just people. They're not authority figures, really. They're just people with foibles and mistakes and what have you. So I started noticing that my teachers were just normal people. So it's wrong to say, but I respected them less because I was like, oh hey, you screw up as well. You're not perfect. Why should I listen to you? Which is not a good thing to think, but that kind of made me lose interest in the second half of secondary school, which is like from your teens until like 18. So I dropped out at 16. But then later in life I went back to college, and in college you get treated like an adult by other adults, and it was fantastic. I loved college because they treated you with respect, and you know, they joke around with you. It's an adult talking to an adult, and it feels so much better than early school, where generally you are patronised. And then that's the thing I had a problem with. There was one class in particular where we had a French teacher who really enjoyed patronising people because the people were on the not caring about learning side. I got put into a lower French class because, well, this is going to be such a long story. Long story short, I was ill, and when I came back I had to sit some French exams to decide my placement for the next year, and the situations I was put in to do those exams were less than satisfactory. One, I was in the teacher's lounge to do one, and a bunch of teachers were having drinks in the background and shouting and whatnot. Another, I was in a classroom with headphones on and I had to listen to an oral test, and there was so much chatting because the teacher couldn't control the class, I couldn't hear the questions. So I flunked both those exams, got put into a remedial French class in the following year, and because none of the students gave a shit, the teacher treated them like shit. And the students either didn't care or didn't notice, but I did notice, and that made me hate them. I hated the way the teacher was patronising them. I remember one French lesson where the teacher just gave up teaching them and decided to talk with them about whether draft beer was better than bottled beer. That's my memory of when I gave up on secondary school, because the teachers just didn't care. But in college is fantastic. Highly recommend college. You get treated like an adult. Z-Guy of Psy says, if pony could pony, how much pony would you pony if you were a pony? Also, Diva best waifu for Laifu. Yes. Horse, also. The Olean04, was Flik your first alias? Also, why Flik? Well, I accidentally already answered that. Flik is my favourite character from Suikoden 1 and 2, which is why I took the name many, many years ago. Prior to that, the very first name I used on the internet, and this was actually with friends, and it's a little embarrassing to admit, but we used to go into chat rooms and troll people. We were children, bear with us. The first name we used was Agent Willie, for obvious reasons. If you're British, I guess, because I don't think that's slang for penis in America. Oh well. Anyway, there you go. Check my channel and I'll end you. Asks, Legend has... Oh wait, this isn't a question. Legend has it, if you're early enough, Flik Senpai will reply. This is 1 week too late, but I am replying to you now live. There we go. I try and reply to as many comments as I can, but please keep in mind that there's so many more now. I set aside like half an hour in the morning and an hour at night to do it, but I still can't keep up, so, you know, bear with me. Let's see, Frizzatic. If we recommend games on Twitch or YouTube, will you play at least one? I cannot guarantee I will do that, but you can recommend stuff to me. Don't buy me stuff and then be disappointed if I don't play it. Tell me about stuff, because most of the time I'll be able to get a review code anyway. So don't just buy me stuff and say, hey, play this, because I won't. But yeah, you can recommend stuff. Jekyll Birch says, as a child, what was your favourite thing to do? Play video games on my NES or SNES or whatever console. Bird Nerd, are you ill on a different account? Will you play any other games than you do now on this channel? Absolutely, yes. It's very important to remember that I am a variety gaming channel. I will not play just one game forever. That will disappoint some people, I'm aware of that. If you're here just for Overwatch, or before that if you were here just for Monster Hunter. I'm not just going to do one game. That's not what I do. If you only want to watch one game, that's totally fine. Like, someone asked me this in a different video, and my answer was, I treat my YouTube channel like a TV station in that I do a lot of different programming. I don't expect a subscriber / viewer to watch everything I do. They will pick and choose their favourites, and that is totally fine. If you don't care about the VR stuff I do, if you don't care about the Monster Hunter stuff I do, or maybe you don't care about the Overwatch stuff I do, that is fine. You watch what you want. I will keep producing the content I want, and you can pick and choose whether you stick with it or you go elsewhere. And that is actually, it's also worth mentioning if you are just, you've recently discovered the channel, I encourage you to go back and look at the playlists. I playlist everything. You might find a game you've never heard of that you might actually enjoy watching. I highly recommend Dragon's Dogma. It's an underrated cult classic that was originally on like PS3, I think. It got released on Steam and it was a fantastic port. They actually made it better. It's a little bit Dark Souls, it's a little bit Dragon Age, it's a little bit action RPG. It is really, really good. One of the best games of the time that I regret not playing back when it was first released. Matt Sturdick asks, do you have a girlfriend? No, I do not. I am single. Turtles Gaming, did you ever think you would get this far on YouTube? No, I did not. In fact, before my first bump, YouTube was always a hobby to me until about 2010. It was just something I did for fun. I didn't care. I know it might sound insincere. I didn't care if I got views or not because it was just a hobby. I was just uploading stuff and like, here, take it, watch it or not, I don't care. Then when I got my first bump, which was from the anime stuff prior to Monster Hunter and all this, that's when I thought, hang on a minute, people are actually paying attention to this now. Maybe I should actually make an effort and produce more videos than say one a week. I remember periods where I didn't upload for like 3 or 4 weeks just because I didn't feel like it, because I wasn't playing anything I wanted to record. And then I got talked into actually monetizing because for the longest time I didn't care. Even when my channel was getting a lot of views, I didn't care about monetizing because I saw it as a hobby and I had a real job. But then I got talked into trying it and I was like, oh hang on, I can actually still make what I want, maybe make a little bit of money alongside my actual job, and that's okay. And then actually it grew to the point where I could do it for a living, and I am amazed it did. I didn't think that would ever happen. I didn't think this would be a viable profession, but it is, and that's astonishing. It's something that if you told somebody 15 years ago would be a thing today, they would laugh in your face. It's quite incredible to be on the cusp of like a new form of profession, and it's really lucky that I fell into it, especially because I live in such a small rural area, and yet I felt like the smart thing to do was to learn about computers when there's no computing jobs around this area. So I ended up doing crappy retail jobs pretty much all my life. So yes, I consider myself exceptionally lucky. No, I did not think it would get this far, but I'm incredibly humbled that it did. Brian Yee says, do you actually know the people you always stream and play with? Have you actually met them in real life? They seem like a fun bunch. I mean, I talk to them daily for the most part. The only one I've met in real life is CR. We met last year, actually. We actually recorded some games in this very room. We recorded some co-op Isaac, and we tried Nuclear Throne, but we couldn't get that to work. We played a local multiplayer game, which is fantastic, called Crawl. I can't remember what playlist I put that in. It will be in some playlist. If Crawl ever gets online multiplayer, it will be one of the most played games on Twitch, but I don't think there's any chance at this point that we're going to do it. Kizis, who I recognise from many streams, asks, how good are you at performing the Flik, and do you have any tips for using it? This is an in-joke for the stream. It is based on Dead by Daylight and doing horrible, horrible things to people's butts, so I'm not going to answer anymore. Pump Biscuit says, can you try and play some of the other popular games in the future, even if they're on console? Pardon me. If you mean, am I going to play other games? Yes. Am I going to play stuff on console? Yes. I have a PS4 over there and a Wii U and what have you, and a PS3 that I think still works. Am I going to play stuff on them? Yes. I keep on meaning to get around to testing streaming via a console. I know it's pretty much easy, but I've just never done it. So I will at some point. It's just I try when possible to get stuff on PC because it's just so much easier to record and work with a PC. It's what I'm used to at this point. But yeah, I play console stuff. Adam Gillespie 76 says, do you have a special connection with your mustache? I just feel like you do. Spot the person who is very clearly in their early teens or younger, because if you're talking about the stubble I had when I recorded the video asking for questions, that is not a mustache. I've never had a mustache. I've had a build-up of stubble from being too lazy to shave, and also just wanting the hair growth to not come back as quickly. But no, I have never had a mustache. Ned Flanders has a mustache. I have never had that. Mustafa Wadi says, why do you play games? Why do you play football? Why do you play badminton? Why do you go for jogs? That's a weird question. What made you think that this is what you wanted to do for a living? I didn't want to do this for a living. I wanted to do it for fun. and as a hobby, and I fought for so very long to not do it for a living that it beggars belief, given that, you know, I thought it was stupid to try and do this for a living. But, oh well, it works out. Call Me TJ says, do you love Reaper? No. Let's see, Mythic Media says, hey, I've been following you for about 1.5 to 2 years now, and I'm so glad you're finally getting recognition. As for a question, did you ever think about quitting YouTube content creation? Glad you didn't, I just wanted to know. Keep making fantastic content and have a nice day, night, afternoon, very early in the morning at the moment, depending on when you see this comment. I did, well, I've never had any intention of quitting YouTube, but if you go back and watch some of the vlogs I did late 2014, early 2015, I gave myself 1 year to make it. As in, like, well, it was originally going to be just 2015, but then when I finally learned, hey, I'll get a connection good enough for streaming in 2016, I gave myself till this year to make it big on YouTube, or I would have to scale back the content I was doing and go get at the very least a part-time job to supplement my income, because I was on the cusp of just barely being able to live, and that's including the support from Patreon as well at the time. Now, hopefully, assuming things don't go down like that, now that things are kind of normalising, it's totally viable, and I'm so glad I held on that extra year for the Twitch stuff as well. The fact that I got partnerships so quickly and I've already got so many subscribers over there, it's exactly what I needed, and I did almost give up, and if I had, none of this would have happened, and I would have been kicking myself had I known. So, you know, it's a case of timing just working out perfectly. If this hadn't taken off until 2017, it's very likely I'd be working a proper job and wouldn't be able to capitalise on it. So, I got lucky. Any time someone gets successful on YouTube, there's always a certain degree of luck involved. And that's not being bashful or humble to say, it's just true. DJ H says, oh, congrats on 100k subs. Thank you. There's no question there, but I appreciate that. Kieran Martin says, I think I remember you saying you learned a bit of Japanese. What made you decide to learn, and what tips can you give on learning it? I have no good tips because I'm really bad. I wish I had started learning it when I was younger, because that's the age where you can absorb information much easier. And instead I got stuck learning French, which I can remember none of because I didn't care about learning French. Why did I want to learn it? Because I really am interested in Japanese culture, because it's so very different to Western culture. It is super interesting just how different our cultures are. And it's such a weird looking language. I know that might sound slightly offensive to say, but that made me interested in it. It's just, it looks so elegant compared to the Greek alphabet we use. So that's why I wanted to learn it. I did start learning it. I didn't get very far because, you know, it is tough, and I was self-teaching myself from books. That said, if you want good books to learn from, there's a set of books called Japanese from Zero. They're what I used with kind of like supplementary stuff on the side. They will teach you the basics. I would actually suggest, if you are only wanting to learn Japanese for the sake of, say, playing a game in Japanese, don't start with hiragana, start with katakana, and that will see you through much better. I kind of regret learning it the other way around, because I struggled at the start of learning katakana, and as a result that's kind of when I gave in. I kind of got back into it again last year, but then YouTube took off and I got too busy again to focus on it. I really wish there had been a class, even at uni, but there wasn't at the uni I went to, that I could have got actual tutelage on it rather than trying to self-learn. So that's the other recommendation I would have. Learn from someone. Also, it will never sound truly correct Japanese if I say it because of my accent. But yeah, it was just an interest. That's all. I'm just really interested. That, and I watched a lot of anime, so it would have been nice to know what they were saying without having to listen to subtitles. Big Savage says, wait, a heat wave in Scotland, so like -6 degrees then. Ha 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 ha. It was about 30 degrees at its hottest, and that is the melting point for Scottish people. Gianluca Cleanheart says, you background less than 3. It's not a question, I'm not even sure it's a statement, but thank you. Kitsune says, my heatwave are 46 degrees Celsius. Well, that is certainly hotter than mine. Ninzuka Gaming asks, how old are you? I like keeping my age secret because people were guessing, and then I can feel insulted when people guess that I'm in my 40s. I'm not, incidentally. Mitch the Lich says, will I ever record WoW? I assume you're asking if you said I, referring to me. The correct answer was me. Or you. I have no intention of ever playing WoW. Let's see. Okay, we've got a few questions here from 100 PHN Aussie, but I've actually already answered a couple of them, like what's your favourite game? Xenogears, I'm single. And then he said, wow, 100,000 subscribers, I'm happy for you. Thank you. We're actually getting... No, we're actually not quite halfway through the questions and we're at 45 minutes here. I'm surprised the post hasn't arrived yet. What are your stats in Overwatch and your kill-death ratio? I have no idea. Oh. Hang on a minute. Someone's posted a link. Where's this a link to? It's a site called Master Overwatch. And apparently it is my page. Is there anything particularly interesting here? Eliminations top 27%, kill death ratio top 2%, damage top 59%, blocked top 19%, healing top 77%, medals top 34%. My win rate with Genji is apparently 63.3%. My win rate with Reinhardt is 45.2 rather. That's appalling. Is there anyone else in the positives? What's my highest positive win rate? I'm curious now. Soldier 76, my win rate is 71.4%, so I guess that must mean I'm best with him. Yeah, apparently. I wouldn't have said I played him very much, but there you go. Alright, so apparently there is a website where you can get information. I'm at a 50% almost on the dot win rate. Sounds about right. Alright, well, if anyone cares, in the comments section of the video where I asked for questions, someone linked my profile if you care about that stuff. FirmGecko75 asks, do you know how to dab? No, I don't understand this meme. I get asked every so often in stream. I assumed it was a sex thing. Who in your group of friends, in your opinion, is best at Overwatch or best at their specific character? Asks James Cole. Sophid is the best at getting play of the game, but I don't think he's the best player. TR's a good Pharah. Trakovian's a good Mercy, although he's mostly playing Ana now. Reaper's a good Corpse. L's a good Junkrat, maybe a D.Va. I think so. I don't really pay attention to how they play, for the most part, apart from Reaper because he plays horribly. Marcos Half Off Store. What is your favourite Monster Hunter game? Generations for how it plays, and for Ultimate for the story. And what is your main weapon used? Gunlance. Shay Levine is brown nosing by asking, how did you get so awesome? Thank you, but I'm not awesome. Krusty Nation Lobster. That's a fantastic name. What is your favourite type of cheese and breakfast cereal? I don't have a favourite breakfast cereal. I very often eat porridge instead of breakfast cereal because it's a cold country. And favourite type of cheese, right now I'll go back to a previous answer, Monterey Jacks. It's fine. So next question is from Reaper, who says, that Reaper guy you play with, how did he become so awesome? The Shark, what's the dumbest team comp you have done? 6 Hanzo on attack. Actually, no. The dumbest one we've done that wasn't highlighted was 6 Hanzo on defense. Vieth885 says, congrats on hitting 100k. My question, can you 1v1 me Mustache off cuz? That's not English. Who do you think the most cancerous character in Overwatch is? Probably the dwarf, because he's not skill based. There's something to be said for McCree, but I like playing as McCree. There's something to be said for May, but she's actually not that bad. She's not very well picked in tournament play because she's so easy to beat. Probably the dwarf. Multiple dwarfs. Although right now actually there's not one character, it's a setup. It's 2 tanks, 2 healers. That is what's cancerous with Overwatch right now, and I'm sick of seeing it. Bulldog89 T-Man, I know you don't like console because a lot of people play Overwatch on console, including me. If you could play in a party, that would be amazing. I don't have PSN, so I can't play Overwatch on on PlayStation. I do have it though. Alright, congratulations on 100k. Here's my questions from Siek Das. I have considered doing a Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin playthrough with a Dex Mage build. What are your thoughts on progression? If I remember rightly, in Dark Souls 2, Dex does not affect casting speed. So you don't need Dex in that one. You need it in 1 and you need it in 3. But I'm pretty sure in 2 you didn't. But I might be misremembering. My thoughts on progression are stack your soul arrows. Do what I did when I played it. Had you acquired the company of your stream buddies? Oh right, as in how I met people. I went over that. They mostly found me from Monster Hunter as a result of the collaboration I did with Dodger. What new games are you considering doing Let's Plays of in the coming months? In terms of like stream side stuff, new Deus Ex. On the channel and stream, Pokemon. Maybe No Man's Sky. That's a big maybe. By the time you hear this, actually, it might be answered one way or the other. That maybe. What else? Monster Hunter Stories, maybe. And I think that's it that I can think of offhand. There's probably more. Every so often there's a dearth in new games I'm interested in. But yeah, these coming months there's actually a few things. Thank you for the amazing content. You're very welcome. Let's see, Kevin Huang, I think. Have you been getting many generous tips for your 100k subscribers? What portion of the tips is Twitch taking from you? Is it a fair amount? People have been incredibly generous, especially during the stream where it was the first one after I hit 100k. I use StreamTip. They take absolutely nothing. Twitch is not getting anything from the tips that you give me while I'm streaming via that. Sometimes on the PayPal side, they will take a very, very tiny amount, but it's nothing. It's negligible. It's totally negligible. If you subscribe on Twitch, the split is 50-50 for what I get, what Twitch gets. But keep in mind, if you watch Twitch a lot, it's fair that they're getting something. So that's how it works. In general, I would encourage you, if you feel like supporting me, that tipping is a good idea. However, don't feel the need to do it just to get me to read something or just to talk to you. I'm willing to talk on Twitter or elsewhere. Don't feel like if you're feeling lonely or unhappy that that's the only way you'll get gratification. You do not need to spend money to do that. Look after yourself first and then tip the people that you like watching after that. Lisa XX asks, how do you handle the growth of your channel and that a lot of people recognise you in games like Overwatch? Overwatch is pretty much the only game I get recognised in, and it happens only when I'm solo queuing and maybe like once in a 3-hour period, so haven't really had a problem. Well, that said, actually, sometimes when we're in full teams I get the impression that people recognise me, because every so often we'll get a game where it makes no sense for somebody to keep on coming after me, but they do, and at the back of my head I'm thinking, do they just know that I'm streaming and that's why they're coming after me, even though it makes no tactical sense? And, you know, that happens sometimes and it gets annoying, which is also, again, why I emptied my friends list of people I don't actually play with. Because I want to try and remain anonymous in terms of, like, who I'm playing against. And what was the other question? How do you handle the growth of your channel? I kind of answered that already, so we'll move on. Dark Arts Diva, who I assume that's not Diva Mage. What's your favourite meal? I don't really have a favourite meal. No, I can't really think of anything that I could definitely say, yes, this is what I would have lots of. I guess Aberdeen Angus burgers, maybe. It's a very nice quality meat that you get up here in Scotland. Malik the Conqueror says, what is your favourite Overwatch hero? My favourite Overwatch hero is... oh, you know, there's probably hints all over the place that Diva is very clearly the best and my favourite character. Ban Lasagna says, what microphone do you use? I'm using a Blue Nessie and I highly recommend it if you are only doing solo stuff. If you're doing stuff like a round table kind of situation where you would have someone on the opposite side of a table talking to you, then consider the Blue Yeti. The Blue Yeti is slightly more expensive than the Nessie, but if you're only doing stuff by yourself or only doing stuff where everybody is facing the mic, you don't need it. You don't bother paying the extra. Ideally though, if you are doing YouTube stuff, having a shock mount is a good idea if you have a lot of like vibration noise. Like I've got the Nessie sitting on some padding to kind of cut down on the vibration of if I'm hitting keys or whatnot. It's not ideal, but it works for me. But the mic quality is definitely up there. It has a built-in shock mount, noise filter rather, and it's got a few different modes on the back of it as well. Mine is kind of breaking, and I haven't ever dropped it or hit it or done it. Well, actually no, that's not true. I've hit it recently, but it was breaking before that. VR, you know what I mean? Just kind of accidentally swiping at it. I recommend it. It's expensive. You can also get cheap mics. I used a Gamescom 220, I think it was called. That was like a £20 mic headset. It was fine. It wasn't professional quality, but it was okay quality. Megan Tran asks, who's your favourite YouTuber? Is there any person that influenced you to start up streaming or YouTubing? Thanks Flik for being awesome. Nope, I pretty much started as a result of just wanting to make videos with my friends many years ago. Who's my favourite YouTuber? I don't have a favourite YouTuber single person, but I would say my favourite channel was probably Red Letter Media, of all the ones I'm subscribed to. They do a lot of movie related stuff. Matty Chemo asks, do you play Warhammer 40k? Well, I've answered that already. You are correct though, he did spot the models on the shelf. What armies do you play? I answered that too. Will you play Total War Warhammer? I did some content on it, I keep on meaning to go back, but I get distracted by other stuff. Tony the Savage asks, will you be playing Battlefield 1? I have no intentions of playing Battlefield 1. But actually, no, that's not true. I was a little bit interested. I wouldn't go out of my way. If they offered me a key, I'd try it. I don't see it like eclipsing my interest in, say, Overwatch. Inaccurate Prophecy. What's an overlooked game, movie, book, etc. that you enjoyed that many other, but not very many other people do? Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. I don't think enough people have played that. It is fantastic. That offhand, that is the only thing I can think of. There's probably a lot of underrated indie games that I've played and done some coverage on that most people haven't played, which is why I do a series on, you know, first impressions of mostly indie games to try and get the names out. Lulu Calentes, I think. Apologies if I've messed up any of these names, by the way. Are you single? It's a question. Yes. Alfred Carey, what's your opinion on Halo and console games in general? Will you play some on Twitch? I may eventually play console games on Twitch. I have no problem with console games. I don't really have an opinion on Halo. Well, alright, let's go through them. 1 is good. 2, I remember being kind of bad. 3 was kind of just okay. Reach was fantastic. 4 was pretty good until the end. That's my vague recollection, and I didn't play the newest one, which I think was 5, right? Or was it 6? Whichever one was Xbone exclusive, I didn't play that one, and I have no interest in it. Let's see. What editing software do you use? Asks the Cube Plays. Also, do you edit much of your videos? Congrats on 100k subs. Love your content. You deserve it. Thank you very much. I use Sony Vegas, which is a pretty expensive kit, although the secret is go for a previous version, which is cheaper than the newest version. I'm still using like Sony Vegas 12 when the newest version, I think, is at 14 now or 15. And it doesn't, if you're only just editing YouTube videos, you don't need the stuff that's added. You can get by with an older key. I also mostly don't, the stuff I edit are unboxings, stuff I record with my camcorder, and stuff that I record with my webcam. That needs edited, especially if I'm having to cut out me answering the door or whatever. Videos, I've got to the point where I have so many presets in OBS, I don't need to do any cutting. Very, very infrequently, I might have to cut something because I've like, say, I was recording a Monster Hunter episode while we were streaming. I forgot to turn off local record, so I recorded what we did after it. I had to cut that up, but by and large, once you get to the point where you've recorded a crap ton of stuff, your presets, your saved settings, all that stuff will mean that you probably don't have to edit unless you're very specifically making content that requires a lot of editing, like, you know, quick cut highlights, that kind of thing. The most editing I've done recently outside of camera stuff is the Worm parody Play the Games, which again, I'm used to doing stuff in Vegas, so putting that together is pretty simple. Imran Omar Hoji or Hoja asks, who's your favourite character, map, and why? Already answered character. My favourite map would be Dorado because I really like the atmosphere on it. And it's fun to play on. Why did I start YouTube? Answered that already, but thank you for asking. Tino Posson. Ian Chudderley, I think. How tall are you? And B, what new games are you most excited about, such as No Man's Sky? Well, I've answered B. How tall am I? I am 6 foot. I'm quite tall. Elomancer36 says, what's the name of the katana sword on your wall, and have you ever had a deep fried Mars bar? That katana has no name. It's purely decorative. It's not an actual katana. It's just for show. I got it many, many years ago. Have I ever had a deep fried Mars bar? Yes. About 2 years ago I had one for the first time, and it was amazing, and I really wish it wasn't because it's super, super unhealthy, but they are really, really good. They taste amazing. Leo Polodovsky? Oh, that name is something I can't pronounce. Do you like Germany, and have you ever been there? I am German. I have never been to Germany. I've been to France, Spain, and that's about it. Well, in England, but that's about it. And then he pointed out what the German that Mercy says when she reses is, yes, I know, the German she says when the enemy Mercy does it is just what the English one, what you hear in English when the one on your side does it, which is Heroes Never Die. Sandra Benedict is asking how I came up with my name, which I've already answered, but thank you for the question. Alex Saunders asks, or says, congrats on 100k, and mine is a request. Can you go into a custom game in Overwatch, and it's 1v question mark, and you play hide and seek? It's very fun. 1v question mark? Probably not, but on that subject, it's been suggested to us that my friends and I, we get around to playing Prop Hunt, and we probably will. It's a game of hide and seek done within Source. Half-Life 2, I think, whatever. Anyway, we'll be doing that at some point. Mythicality asks, what's the dumbest team combination you've ever done? I answered that already. 6 Hansel. Although actually no, I would say that 6 Widows was worse, but we actually did better with them, which is still bizarre to me. We only lost because the enemy switched to all Winston. If they hadn't done that, I'm pretty sure we would have taken that one. OGL Games asks, how did you meet the people you play Overwatch with? Dead by Daylight, etc. Already answered that, but thank you for the question. Oh, hang on, I missed one. Jun Shido, congrats on 100k subscribers. My question, which Overwatch character ult do you like? I like a lot of them, but Dragon Blade is obviously very fun. Oh my god, we're just over halfway through the questions. I will try and speed up a little bit because now I think at this point we should just get through it. Anthony Silva says, do you like Lord of the Rings? I like the books, the movies were largely no. Ian Young says, does Scotland have dank memes? We have the dankest memes. We also have sheep. Fear the Noah says, how did you meet your friends? Already answered that. Derek GR says, have you played Dark Souls 1 and would you ever make a Let's Play for it if you haven't? I have played it, I hated it. I hate it the most out of all the Dark Souls games. I loved every other one apart from number 1. I think it is held on a pedestal by way too many people. I despised it. Would I ever play it? I think as a joke I made it a Patreon goal, but I wouldn't encourage people to give me money to play it. I wouldn't enjoy it. I played through most of it, did a review for a website I wrote for. People hated me because I didn't like it. Meh, I didn't like it. Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3 are great. Bloodborne is better than all of them. Ember Frost, will you start to upload full episodes of Worm Revolutions to YouTube? You seem to have started streaming it regularly. Yes, and I know now that you will have seen this already, but yeah, some full VODs are up. And I think Owl and Reaper are posting episodic versions. Adam Miller says, I'm somewhat new to your channel, so I'd like to ask what kind of games you like to play and what you think the most important part of a game is. Well, Monster Hunter games, third-person action games. I like RPGs, although I don't really do much content on that kind of thing. First-person shooters, I'm all for it. Puzzle games I like as well, although that, again, is stuff I probably wouldn't stream. You know, stuff like Picross or, you know, that kind of puzzle stuff. It's not fun to watch, but it's fun to play for me. The most important part of the game for me is... I was going to say plot, but I think a bad plot can be excused if the characterizations are good, so I'll say characters is most important to me. Because also, if a game tries to have just a good story but does nothing else, then it's still a failure as a game. I'm looking at you, what's it called, Firewatch, whatever it was. Karen Clayton says, can you do it on mobile as well, question mark. I have no idea what that's a reference to. Lucas Kimisendu? How tall are you? Answered that already. And then we also have another question from Jonas asking how I met everybody. Well, already answered that. Duke Kimpy asks, which country have you found has the best players? And he's run into some top-notch Aussies. I don't think it's down to nationality. I think it's just down to personal skill. Amin asks what my opinion is on Overwatch Competitive. Never played it, never intend to, so I don't really have any thought on it. I'm glad that they limited it to one of each hero, because that fixed the broken combos people were using, that sadly are still making their way into certain tournaments. Soul Searched asks what my favourite movie is. My favourite movie is Hard Boiled, which is a early John Woo film. It's very, very good. It has a very famous scene that's been parodied since then of a kind of the finale in a hospital. It's very good. So Awesome Sauce 175 asks, will I do a face reveal at some point, which I assume was just a joke. So we'll just move on from that. Laura Lovelace, I assume this is a troll, says, mine's not so much a question, but how are you so sexy? Love your Twitch and YouTube, hail Scotland. Well, thank you, even if it was a troll. Faisal, then a name I can't pronounce. How old are you and do you have a girlfriend? Already covered that. Tornado Hunter 98 says, what is your favourite band? I've got a couple. I would say probably Nightwish and Alkaline Trio are up there. And then maybe something on the parody side, like, say, Death Clock. Why are you like Mike J? Asks someone with a Russian name, so I can't pronounce it. I don't know who Mike J is. Who's your main character? Asks Lasers Go Pew. Already answered that. Tracy Leaf asks, I'm figuratively dying to know what figures are behind you. Top shelf, Transformers and Gundam. That shelf, anime stuff, and like over there is like some game related stuff like Kingdom Hearts and that sort of thing. That's, hang on, that's like a Ryuk from Death Note. That's Ichigo and Hitsugoya from Bleach. There's a Naruto there. There's this is so awkward doing this in reverse. That's a couple of Halo figurines, like there-ish. That's a Player Kai Superman I got in a mix box, and that is my Monster Hunter figure, which was previously sitting here, but I broke it by constantly hitting it while playing VR, so I moved it over there and superglued its foot back on. And the Soldier 76 statue is there. It's hidden, sadly, because it's too big to go on the shelf. Oh, and there is the blind box Rage set of Monster Hunter figures that I did an unboxing of. That is in the unboxing playlist if you're curious. Owen288 says, I don't know if you've already answered this, but what is the best game you've played in 2016? The best game I've played so far this year will be Dark Souls 3. Close second will be Overwatch. But, you know, we're only halfway through the year, or just over halfway through almost, so... No, not almost, we are just over halfway through the year. I can month sometimes. Yeah, that's so far, but, you know, there's still a few months to go. Asher Ward says, hey Flik, I hope your hay fever gets better, me too. By the way, out of Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, 4 Ultimate, and Gen, what is your favourite? I just accidentally turned very Scottish there into what is your favourite instead of what is your favourite. Already answered that, but 4 Ultimate for the story, Generations absolutely for the gameplay. Monsieur Rick asks what my relationship status is, and I've already answered that. Daniel Avocado asks, how are your Pokemon in Pokemon Go looking and what is your team? You don't really have teams in that, but yeah, I'm getting there. I've almost caught most of what's available. I still don't have a goddamn Scyther, and that's very, very annoying. Megaseptile asks, if you had a YouTube Red show, what would it be? I would do a series where I would strap a GoPro to the front of my bike and show you the wonderful cycling routes of Scotland. And nobody would watch it. WeeabooFuck69 says, can you talk Dutch? No, I have Dutch friends. The GamerHam757 says, do you have any single favourite Overwatch moment? A single moment. The time where I charged a Bastion in the very first video where we tried an all Reinhardt team, and I was just so excited at the fact I took the Bastion off the edge of a level before he got a chance to fire at anyone. I just shouted the first thing that came to mind, and it was for Valhalla, and it made no sense, but I liked that. Also, the first time I sniped the Widowmaker with her own bullet as Genji. I just walked out, shing, dead. I loved that stuff. Greenvex Gamer says, who's the character in your YouTube profile picture? It is a original character drawn by Kort, so he is my channel avatar. He is the persona that I use to advertise my channel, as it were, and will appear in my Twitch emotes. Well, one so far, but more eventually. Originally, it was actually a picture of Negascott, which is why the coloration is the way it is. But then, you know, when YouTube started taking off, it was like, well, I can't really use a copywritten character as my channel persona, so I actually said to Grinning Out at the time, hey, can you draw an original character kind of based on this? And he did. So that was the actual origin. But the current avatar I'm using is Kort's, that he drew. Easy Peak says, I have a question, but it might be a bad one. What are the things you enjoy doing in life besides video games? If it's too personal, I understand. That's not personal at all, and I actually already answered it, so no problem. This one should get people going. Who's your favourite commenter on your videos? No pressure, asks Moonwalker. Also, YouTube tips would be well received. I managed to get one popular gaming video and that's about it. I'm not sure I understand your second point. I like all the commenters that are nice. I don't like all the commenters who are just trolling or insulting other people commenting. You know, like, you get a lot of people who, when you get to a certain point, a lot of people start doing the, hey, I got first comment. And then people will always jump on them and insult them. Just let them do it. It's fine. If you really wanted to stop that, what you would do is go into your community settings and put the word first in, because then anytime anyone mentioned the word first, it would get caught in the spam filter. But then you just have a spam filter full of firsts. But if you wanted to stop it, you could. I would say just leave them be. I like every commenter who is nice. That is the long and short of it. Lol Dick, please stop, I think. What was your inspiration to start YouTube? Already covered that. It was making Final Fantasy XI videos with my friends. Would you rather be stuck in a room full of Satans freezing the living crap out of you, or a room full of Torbjorns yelling, get your armor? No, it's that isn't quite what he says. It's come get your armor, over and over again, and throwing armor everywhere. Also, would you rather be in Team Catchphrase or Team We're All Dads Now? This is his questions from Star of Ghost. I would rather be in the room full of the dwarves because at least I'd be very well defended with all that armour and not cold. And would I rather be in Team Catchphrase or Team We're All Dads Now? Catchphrase, for sure. And then he also asked, would you rather die from a Dragon Strike or Dragon Blade? I would rather not. Is that an option? Spherical Cube says, congratulations on 100k subs. By the way, have you noticed that now if people don't have avatars on YouTube, they just have the, like, YouTube's automatically given them one where it's just the first letter of their name? That's so weird. Are there any upcoming RPGs you're planning on playing in the foreseeable future? Yes, the new Deus Ex, very, very soon. Gabriel DD asks if I enjoy watching any sports. This is going to be quite sad, but I have a soft spot for watching darts. And I'm not going to dwell on that. Let's move on. Patrick Vinci's, as a fellow Scot living in France, your accent cheers me up so much, no homo though. Here's my question, do you know any games set in Scotland? Well, thank you for the question. The only game I can think of that's actually set in Scotland is the finale to Broken Sword 1? Maybe it was Broken Sword 2. One of the Broken Sword games, the finale, the final act is set in Scotland. That's the only thing I can think of offhand. Joe Willman says, opinion on dolphins. I don't know any personally, but they seem okay. Let's see, Raider Hall asks if you could be one Overwatch character, who would you be? Already basically covered that. Furious Gamer says, will you try to play Overwatch on PS4? No plans to at the moment. If I ever do get PSN, then I would then. He Sunny says, can you play GTA Online with friends? It would be cool. I tried playing GTA Online at the start, and I just got soured to how badly run it was. So probably not. The mini games I did try as well were just like, you know, team deathmatch and crap like that. That didn't really interest me. Gustavo T says, do you plan on playing any RPG type games in the future? That's so weird. That, you know, I assume they didn't read the questions, but so many people have the same line of thought. Already answered that. Pardon me, I started watching you for your Dragon's Dogma series. I'm glad. You've been in love with your channel ever since. Congratulations on 100k and thanks for entertaining us. Sorry for any misspells. I am from Brazil. Your English is fine. Thank you. Hamid Zamel asks how old I am. Addressed that. Bob's Brain asks, what item do you hate the most in The Binding of Isaac Rebirth? I hate to tell you this, Bob's Brain, but you'd be high on that list. Kinsey asks, what was your favourite game growing up? It wasn't my favourite game of all time, but in terms of just like starting me down a trend, Resident Evil 1, for sure. I fell in love with those games. A man sings says, congrats on 100k. My question, how do you feel about a face cam in a game? I feel like that is utterly redundant because all you'll see, like if I had a face cam while I was playing Overwatch, I'd just be like this. I'd just be looking at that, occasionally looking over at chat. There's nothing to be added. There's no added value in having a webcam while you're playing a game. Having a webcam while you're doing a channel update or this kind of thing. By the way, I totally forgot to mention this at the start, but the channel update for August will be at the end of the month, so there's a little bit of space between this and that. There will still be one though, because I've got to do like Patreon shoutouts and what have you. But no, I don't have any intentions of doing a face cam while I record a series because I see no value at all. Will you be streaming on YouTube in the future, especially Overwatch? Asks Theodore Harris. No, I cannot because I'm partnered on Twitch. Poland DX Gaming says, Flik, can you do a Draw My Life maybe? I don't know what that is. I will need more information. I take it you use like stickmen to illustrate your life. I haven't had a particularly interesting life. Other than like weird professions like, you know, writing for a gaming website or being a freelance writer. I don't know. Himanshu Shinha has asked what my favourite game is. Already addressed that, so we'll move on. And Sharkley has also asked how I met my friends, etc. So we'll skip that. The Mighty Sven asks question, how much flack could a flocked flick if a flocked fluke could flick flack? Ner. Pizza Raptor says, if you were to main any one hero in Overwatch, which would it be? It would be Genji. By the way, I got a new phone case. There's my new phone case. Definitely not legitimate Overwatch merchandise, but I like it. Also, my Dark Souls 2 one was falling apart. Young Metro asks how I met everybody. Again, covered that. YouTube Addict says, where do you want your channel to go? What do you want to see do in the future? If things carried on as they are now, I would be totally happy. As long as I'm making enough to live, I'm happy doing what I do because I really enjoy it. And the best job you can have in the world is one where you enjoy doing it. Like if I won the lottery tomorrow, the day after, I'd still be making videos. So as long as things just carry on as is, get the support from viewers, commenters, that kind of thing, just to keep on going. I will happily make content forever. Whether YouTube will be around forever, you know. But I'd be happy to just carry on as is. I am very happy with how things are going. Paz Knight asks what made me start YouTube. Already covered that. And I've already covered Musi Mulanga's question about what my favourite game is. And Deros3000 asked the same thing. Covered that. We're actually getting through the final ones quicker now. We're going to finish within 15 minutes, I feel, because these are mostly repeat questions at this point. Drew Titus says, when you hit some milestone on your way to 100 million, will you ever do a Draw My Life? So that's not, hang on, I might as well just live research this. Draw My Life. It's a YouTube channel? Draw My Life brings you the greatest lives in history armed with only a whiteboard and a marker pen. Alright, well if it's for like celebrities and stuff, then no, I'm not at the point where I would be worthy of such a thing. There was like a Donald Trump one I saw in the Google results. Will you ever use a face cam for your videos? Asks Owen Griffiths. Only these kind of special ones and channel updates, not on a series. And I don't see any point of doing it on a live stream. It's just, you know, you're eating up bandwidth for no reason. Or bitrate, sorry. Dareth asks what my first impressions were of Overwatch. Covered that. Jacob Whittinger says, have your parents seen your videos? Yes. Or rather, my mother has. As far as like older generations, my aunt has. I don't think my uncle has. My grandfather hasn't, but he knows roughly what I do. Elite Melon says, what is your favourite game ever on any console, and congrats on 100k? Well, thank you, and I've already answered that. And the next question is the exact same from Vape Nation. Covered that. Kirby King asks what program I use to edit videos. Sony Vegas. Another question from Juan Jimenez about the heat wave in Scotland. And then he also asked, have I ever played Dungeons & Dragons? Yes, I have. Both the actual tabletop version and then there's also a web-based version for people who are too far apart. I did not enjoy it. I like the RPG aspect of like playing the game and fighting and having the RNG nature of rolling dice. I can't stand the pretending to be your character and talking to NPCs. It's cringeworthy in my opinion. It's just not for me. Name is Name says, how long have you been doing YouTube? I've been doing YouTube since, well, by myself on this channel since 2008, plus maybe 1 or 2 years prior to that with friends. Corbins asks why I like Overwatch so much. I loved TF2, I like class-based shooters, and this one is especially appealing because of the characterization in the world they've set up. It's just really interesting and diverse, and that's what I appreciate. Blizzard puts a lot of time into their games, and it shows. Not all their games are for me, but I can appreciate the work they put in, and with Overwatch they've hit all the right notes for the things I enjoy. What's your favourite game? Asks Finley Franco, and also says congrats. Well, answered that. If you could meet one Overwatch hero, who and why? Asks Miracle of the Shadows. Because of the obvious answer, can I just kind of rephrase this into like, who would I like to meet who voices a character? Via the subreddit, I've seen that the guy who voices Reinhardt is like really gung-ho and into his role, and he's really friendly and really nice, and he'll say stuff as Reinhardt for you and things like that. I would like to meet him because he seems like a laugh. That's why. Quentin Farrell says, favourite game besides Overwatch? If you mean like what I'm playing right now, Monster Hunter. Tyler Burns asks what my favourite monster to fight is, and also my favourite gear and theme. Favourite monster to fight? I'm not sure. Favourite theme would probably be... There's so many that are good. I like them all for different reasons, like Tamamisni, Devil Joe, Zenogre. Favourite monster to fight? Probably Devil Joe, because I remember just the build up to having to fight him for the first time in 3 Ultimate, and then since then he was just this constant pain in my arse, and now I understand him, so he's pretty easy to beat. And yet you can still get like Apex versions or Hyper versions that will smash your face into the floor instantly. So yeah, favourite gear, I don't really have one specific set of favourite gear. There's tons of gear that looks great in Monster Hunter games. Ben Smith asks, is there any specific game styles or genres which you feel are underrated and you'd like to see more of? Roguelikes that have had a lot of time and effort put into them, a la Gungeon. There's problems with Gungeon, but it's very clear a lot of time and a lot of effort went into it. I would like to see more like that rather than rushed parodies of Binding of Isaac. That's what I'd like to see. There's another question about dabbing, whatever the hell it means, from Yamata no Orochi Smith. Honey Badger says, do you know what puta means and what language would you learn if you had to? I believe it means like bitch or bastard in Spanish. I hope it isn't a super offensive word. If it is, I apologise. That's what I get for not reading all the questions beforehand if it is. Ulster23 says, if you could go anywhere, also we're very near the end now, if you could go anywhere in the world for a vacation, where would it be and why? I would go to Japan because I want to go to Japan. Stormo asks how I got Flik as my name. Already covered that. Gary Newman has also asked about whether I do YouTube and Twitch as a job. Covered that. Yes, I do. Let's see. Mr. Fluffy Cuddles 1 asks if I've ever played Diablo 3 much. I did. I played the base game through, and I do actually have a series on it. I didn't play the expansion. I'm aware that the expansion apparently made it good, but I didn't really have any reason to go back. And I don't know. You asked like what the highest rift level was I completed. I don't recall. I don't even remember if that was a thing in the base game. Dog's coming upstairs. You might see her in a second. What is your favourite skin in all of Overwatch? The neon one for Genji. Close second is the carbon fibre. Hello Maya. What are you doing here? You want to hop on the bed so you can get seen? You want to hop on here? You usually do. While I'm recording stuff. She either lies at the base of the bed or she lies on my pillows. Cookie Cascon asks how I met the people I've met. Well, answered that. He also asks which characters I would compare them to in the game. I mean, let's just face it, Reaper is Bastion, Grinning Owl is Junkrat. That's pretty much the two that are the most fitting. What YouTubers' videos do you watch, if any? Asks Text Not Dead. Well, as I said earlier, Red Letter Media, eRock331, Family Jewels. That's just a few. You can. I think my subscriptions are public, so you can look at them. A few of them are really old and haven't updated in years, but yeah, those are among the ones if I see a new video from. Oh, Cinema Sins as well, of course. Those are the ones where if I see a new video, I will go out of my way to watch it as soon as it's up. If you could choose one, Twitch or YouTube. Well, if I was doing it purely financially, I would pick YouTube because I'm earning much more from that than Twitch. That said, recording stuff live on Twitch is probably more exciting than recording stuff in my own time off camera. Well, you know what I mean, not live. Ivy Nugent says, congrats on 100k, love your content. Which do you like more, crepes or pancakes? I like Scotch pancakes, which I believe are different to the pancakes you might be mentioning. What do you want, dog? If you're mooching, you are an hour and 40 minutes early. That is ridiculous. Also, at least if you're going to mooch, do it up there so you can be visible. No? Okay. Tyrant JD has asked, what kind of emotions have you experienced this year as your popularity has risen? What changes have you found overwhelming, if any, from your rise in popularity? The increase in comments, the increase in scrutiny on everything you say, it is... If I focused on it, I feel like I would get overwhelmed. I'm very prone to being stressed. So I try not to focus on it. I try not to focus on how many people are watching when I live stream. I acknowledge that there are people watching, and then I play, and I try and do well and try and be funny. Sometimes, comedy is hit or miss. And entertainment is hit or miss as well. So I'm trying not to focus on it, but it's overwhelming to think about just how many people are watching my stuff now and how many people are subscribing on Twitch. How many people are watching me play stuff live, even if it's something stupid like Quiplash or Worms. It is overwhelming, which is why I'm not focusing on it. And I've probably said that like 3 times now because I'm convincing myself that I'm not focusing on it. Let's see, Chad Curteret is asking about my history in gaming. I've already covered that, as well as where I got my name from. As did Seven Tailed Chaos. Oh, actually no, yes, specifically how my channel avatar got their appearance. I accidentally already covered that. John Matani asks how I can prove my love to Scotland. I'm still here, aren't I? Elliot Perry asks, will I be playing Titanfall 2? And PS congrats on 100k. Yes, I am looking forward to Titanfall 2. I keep forgetting to mention it. I love the fact that it's got a story mode now, because that's what it needed. Let's see. Elijah L asks what my favourite Overwatch character is. Covered that. Darkside Games also asks, when you get really big, will you remember this comment? Well, I'm remembering it now. He also asked, are you a weeaboo? I see the katana in the background. As far as I'm aware, that is a derogatory term for someone who likes Japanese culture and anime, so if so, then yes. Fred Dolan Burke asks how I started on YouTube. Already covered that. I've also covered Mr. Junior's question about my favourite game. Juan Martinez asks, what did you study in college? In college I studied computer support, and then in uni I did computing science, and then on the side I did critical writing and Scottish literature. Let's see. Julian Acosta asks what your dog name is. Maya, what's your name? She's just staring at me. I could try and trick her onto the bed with a what's it. Do you want a what's it, Maya? I've got an open bag of what's its here that I didn't want. I shouldn't really give you this though, because it might be something you're allergic to. You see that? You want to hop on the bed here? You want to hop on there? Go over there. Go get it. There you go. That's my dog. Her name is Maya. You seriously didn't see where I threw that? Maya, you're embarrassing yourself to all dog kind. No, it's not there. No, it's over there. She got it. Okay. She's not a very good dog. She's bad at dog. Fluffy Dog 04 wants to know what my favourite colour is. My favourite colour is red. Quinn Taylor Pohl asks, what kind of character do you want the next Overwatch hero to be? I do not want it to be a cloaking based character, so I'm very disappointed with what we've seen of Sombra so far. I wouldn't mind a Doomfist character, or a character who has obtained the Doomfist and it has some kind of corruption function. That'd be interesting. Dur Calderon says, you have a let's look at. Would you, and what games from the selection would you replay or stream? It's a bit of a broken question, but if you're asking would I do more content on a video I've done a first impressions video of, the answer is yes. I would do, like, say, if I like it a lot I'd do a series on it, like say Gungeon. Or if I just like it a little bit and want a little bit more content without the commitment of a series, I would do an hour of, which is another series I have where I just play a game for an hour. And I am going to do one on Death Road to Canada soon, I promise. I just need to get around to it. I might do that after this, actually, depending on the time. I've got to save my voice though for the stream tonight. Rex Reigns asks how I got started on YouTube. Covered that. And I've also covered Eogan's question about Overwatch. Bolt Strider Official, Spider Official rather, asks what my top favourite games are of the past 7 years. I've kind of covered that with my previous questions. Luke Kinney asks if I played Dungeons & Dragons or Pathfinder. Covered Dungeons & Dragons. I've never played Pathfinder. I'm vaguely familiar with it though. Kikyo says, dude, I'm Scottish. Why do you say dude then? I'm in Glasgow, you're probably in Edinburgh, but this is a question, what is your favourite childhood game? Well, I've covered that. I'm not in Edinburgh. I'm about equidistant between Glasgow and Edinburgh. Shifu asks how I met my friends in Overwatch. Covered that. And he is just pointing out he only plays it on Xbox. That's fine. Tatum Going says, what's your favourite inside joke that your vids have created, like Reaper's Rubber Ducks? I like saying catchphrase, but that's not really an inside joke, is it? How long are you? I like going back to that one. Jose Santiago says, all they're saying is beeps and boops, racists. I believe that's a quote from an Overwatch video where we're playing as the robot team, if I remember correctly. Breakfast Gaming says, have you been playing video games with people in your Overwatch videos for a while now? Yes, literally years at this point. Justin Moore says, out of the games you played on your channel, which would you say are your favourites? Bloodborne, Dragon's Dogma, Overwatch, Gungeon / Isaac pre-patch. Yeah, I'd say that. Janin8 says, is Overwatch your favourite game? It's one of my favourite games at the moment, but not of all time. So far, anyway. Brennan Edwards asks if I play Warhammer 40k. Answered that at the start, so that's covered. And also Sophia's Awesome Channel asks how I met everybody. It's a very popular question. Another question about if I could make an Overwatch character, who would they be? Would it be a human? Asks Jake McCown, so I've already covered that. Let's see, Nova Wang asks what my greatest fear / accomplishment was on starting a YouTube channel. Greatest fear would be failure, I suppose. Greatest accomplishment was succeeding. So far. Anyway, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's see, Isaac Velanquez is asking a repeat question. Murder Melon says hello. Hello back. The Darkness says, being a huge Souls fan, did you ever get into the Berserk anime or manga? I did not, but I kept on meaning to. It's on the list. Minion Kirby 002 asks what the worst game I've ever played is. I would say that would probably be Gone Home, or I didn't actually play that stupid one that came out recently. I've already forgotten the name of it. Jonathan Blow's newest one, the awful one. But yeah, no, Gone Home is terrible. Will Scott says, congrats Flik, why did you start YouTube? Covered that. Zero with many numbers says, mine is, where in Scotland are you from? I'm from Dunfermline and looking for Scottish gamers. Why are you looking for Scottish gamers? Are you hunting us Highlander style? I'm from Stirling. That's the general area I am from. I was born there anyway, I think. Was I? No, actually, no, maybe I wasn't. I think we just moved there. I don't know. I was a baby. How was I supposed to remember? Laura Alexander says, I want a picture of gimmick Overwatch team. And are you a tactician in real life? I don't understand the first bit. The second bit, I like to think that I have a tactical mind, yes. Campbell McCracken asks what my favourite, most memorable game of all time is. Suikoden 2, Xenogears. Deadshot asks how many assorted figures I have. Pretty much just all you see there. There's maybe like really... Actually, you see that box in the corner there? That is filled of like really old Transformers toys from my childhood. But because they're all not in boxes, they're not worth a lot of money, sadly. If you had to live as any video game character for a year, who would it be? Asks Jacob Connell. What a bizarre question. I have no idea. That's one that would require a lot of thought, and I'm trying to get through this under 2 hours. That one guy asks, why is there a katana in the background? Why not? Korean Man says, could you show us the figures and tattoos that are in the back? There's unboxing videos of some of them, like the Player Kai Superman, the Monster Hunter figure that's there, the Monster Hunter stuff that's there. You know, the big important ones, there's videos of them already. Go into the playlists and look for the one called Unboxings, and you'll find them in there. There's also one of like a Player Kai Sora, and the Dark Souls ones that you can't see over there because they're sitting right here. Dex says, I don't have a question, I just love Flik. Well, thank you very much. I don't think you're being entirely sincere, but I may just be basing that on the fact that your avatar is that boy. YouTube Sushi says, congrats on 100k. My question, how did you find the Overwatch group? Again, I already answered that. The next question from Rider Reviews is the same one, although I do enjoy your Killing Joke avatar. Reaper Fang 20 says the play button is going to take forever. Yep. Alright, this is the last 5 questions. From Charlie Abrams, Flik, been watching your videos since Overwatch was released and really enjoy them. 3 questions. Is there a schedule for when you do live streams? Yes, my schedule is over on my Twitch channel. The set streaming days are Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday is an off day. Sometimes I stream on Wednesday and Friday as well. It's just if I feel like it, it is not set days. But yeah, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday from 6:30 until approximately 10 at night UK time. Do you have a link to your Patreon? I have never supported anyone, though I'm interested to check it out. Yes, on my YouTube page there is a button in the top right. If you just go to the main page, it's a orange P, and if you go to my Twitch page there's also a button. But keep in mind that Patreon is, you know, a monthly support thing for you to support artists, musicians, YouTubers, content creators, professionals. There is like reward tiers, but you're mostly doing it out of the kindness of your heart. Don't impoverish yourself to support someone. So please keep that in mind. What type of program do you use to stream games from your DS like Monster Hunter? I use a DS that is modded to have a capture card installed in it, although it is currently broken, so right now I'm just using a normal one to catch up a little bit. But yeah, I have another capture card one on the way. They are very expensive. You're looking at about $600. Also, my wife and I wish we could be part of the Super Granddad Charge session sometimes. We both enjoy your videos immensely. It is the first FPS she has ever played and enjoyed a lot. So that's the other thing about Overwatch, it's bringing in a lot of people who you would normally, you know, slightly stereotypically assume wouldn't be into it. And people love it. And I'm glad. Also, the dog is bored of me. Oh wait, no, you're facing me. I thought that was your butt. I'm so sorry, Maya. I'm sorry. I thought your face was your butt. I'm very sorry. Jonas Jurt says, my question is, do you have a girlfriend, wife, or brothers and sister? I have no girlfriend, I have no wife, I have one sister who is younger than me, who also does YouTube, but I don't really, you know, hoor it out, as it were, because our cross-section of audiences don't really sync up that much. Although that said, one person just randomly realised the other day there that she watched my sister's content on YouTube without knowing it was my sister. She does nail stuff, she's a nail technician. Senpai Dodo says, do you like turtles? Yeah, they're fine. I've got you may have heard me mention this in videos and maybe thought I wasn't being genuine when I mentioned it, but I do actually have a metal Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coin with Turtles on one side and Casey Jones on the other, and I use that to make decisions in games. Sometimes. Robin Jurt says, what is your opinion on Brexit? I have no strong opinion other than it's going to be an interesting few years. Marisol Moran Garcia says, hey Flik, how did you and your friends meet each other and how long have you known each other? Covered that. Final 2 questions. I don't know if I asked this question here before. If so, here's a double. This is from April Sutherland. I would like to know how you guys met. Covered that. Another small question is, if you can, why do you call Mace Satan? She's a sweetie. The whole thing started because there was a GIF on the Overwatch subreddit of the moment May fires her ice spike at someone. Her face, she gets like an evil smirk just at the point she fires, and then it goes back to being, oh no, all innocent and cute. So, you know, the devil conceals itself is essentially the theme we were going with there. And the final question is from Timothy Lothar, who says, hopefully I'm not too late to submit a question. This was 12 hours ago, so consider yourself lucky. Could you do a series on the kind of recording settings and editing tricks you know for beginner YouTubers? I keep on meaning to get this done. I do plan to do like a basics of YouTube, but in the meantime, there's a bunch of free information out there that you can get that will help you straight away. If you're streaming, Twitch has a guide for how to set up OBS, XSplit, all the other programs to the best possible settings for their site. Sorry, I got lost in my own thoughts there of trying to think what I was going to mention next. Google has an extensive guide on best practices for like SEO and whatnot that are very worth reading if you're a beginner, and there is even one that's specifically focused on gaming if that's the kind of content you're doing. In terms of like settings for local recording, you can get that information. There's a Let's Play subreddit with a lot of information. If you look on the right side, they've got some guides, some of them written by much bigger YouTubers than me. There's a lot of free information out there that you just need to look up that will help you with the basics. If you're just starting out, have the best possible sound you can, make sure that the game isn't drowning you out, don't try and imitate someone, try and find your own character, and if you want to get started quickly, try and find something that hasn't been done before. And within the gaming sphere, that's very, very difficult, but you know, that's the best starting advice. I do plan to try and do a series on more in-depth advice, but hopefully that will get you started. There's no real editing tricks. If you use something like OBS, have a bunch of presets for games that you plan to do long series on, so you don't need to keep on changing it between games, like changing all your settings. You can just change your profile, and that's simple. So hopefully that covered everything. Thank you again to everybody who's subscribed and has stuck with the content. If you are only here for Overwatch, that's totally fine, but I would encourage you to maybe check out some other stuff. You might find something you like. This is a variety gaming channel, it will always be. There's a lot more to come. And if you are watching the Twitch side, thank you very much. And if you're a subscriber, enjoy the emotes. Remember, you can use them anywhere. And towards the end of the month, the final Monday of the month, which is the 29th, I'll probably do the channel update for this month then. We'll cover how Twitch is going, plans going forward, and stuff like that. Hope I answered your questions to the best of my ability. It took me an hour and 40, which is about on par. Thanks for watching. Hope I covered everything that needed covered. And I shall see you at the channel update at the end of the month. Ta-ta for now.